All right, thank you for joining in again to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about the Becker BK18. This is in the FDE coloration. I just got this, I don't know, just a few days ago, and this is just kind of like my first impressions to the knife. Sorry if the camera kind of moves just a little bit. I am kind of hand holding it today. My stand is not here right now. So we're going to kind of just do a little slight introduction to it, and then we're going to talk about some positives, then some negatives, and then some positives. So we're going to try to use the sandwich technique just to try to cover all the information that we need to go over. So the Becker and K-Bar did a collaboration. They worked together. However, that's all laid out. And this is the BK18. This is the harpoon blade, which is probably one of my favorite blade styles as of right now, especially with this size of a knife. And you can go online and see a lot of the specs and so forth, but I've got a ruler right here, and we'll use this as maybe just as a plumb line, kind of so that you can kind of see how big this thing is. So this is in inches, so about almost 4.5 inches in blade, and then handle is about 4.5, so like 9 inches total, probably. Yep, just a little over, so 9.25. Great little blade. It's lightweight. It has a good feel to it. The handle, it seems to be very ergonomic to my hand. I wear a medium-sized glove, and yeah, I mean, it's the perfect amount of space on my hand. I will say that, excuse me, one thing I don't see a lot of people do on YouTube is kind of showing their hand width and hand size. So if I did this, that's probably 3.5 inch, maybe 3 3/4, almost 4 inches of my hand width. Fingers, not that this is much help for you guys. Sorry if this is not much of a help, but to me, everybody talks about, well, I wear this size glove, my hands are this size or whatever it is, and that doesn't help me so much because of the different brands and so forth, so forth. So this fits my hand really well. I mean, just almost perfect, almost like a glove. Does very well. My thumb goes almost all the way up to that point on the harpoon. Good control. I did take this outside. Did some light batoning with it, and this wear and tear that you see on this, all of that is doing a few stabs in a log for the tip there, and the rest of that wear is splitting about 2 logs. I don't know, 4.5 inches in diameter. Just basically whatever that I can get, with this size of blade. So one was a softer wood, and one was a harder wood with several knots. So with 2 pieces of wood, you can see how much wear and tear. So this paint is not the most durable, the coating here, but I'm okay with that. I think it just kind of gives the knife character. So some of the positive things, other than it being ergonomic in the hand, because it's kind of like this Coke bottle shape, is I love the size, I love the weight. The blade shape is probably my favorite part of the knife, along with the color. It's really just a unique blade. If you like something that's a little bit unique, that has utility purposes and usefulness, maybe a little bit of tactical, then I think this is something you may want to look into. The sheath is this plastic sheath with a nylon strap here for a belt loop. That's pretty substantial. You can pretty much, I think, any belt will fit in through there. And so I like it. Generally speaking, I like it. Now, I bought this, just so you know, I got a good deal on it. I got it on an auction, I think for like $85. It's usually running on Amazon currently for about $103. So I did get this like $25 cheaper than where I was able to find it elsewhere. So just a little FYI there. So I'm $85 into it. It was like brand new, etc. So the negative thing, or two negatives that I want to point out, some people may say, well, that's a negative because the paint is kind of quickly coming off. I don't consider that a negative, but your mileage may vary. The two negatives that I'm going to say on this is the handle and the sheath. Nothing on the blade. This thing is razor sharp. It came out of the box very sharp. It got just a slightly dull going through that wood with the knots. I mean, ever so slightly. I mean, this is like I think a 1095 or at least an equivalent. And so it worked well. I think it did not perform any less than any other 1095 or equivalent carbon steel knife blade. Anyway, I just took it on a ceramic rod, and it touched up, and now it's popping hairs very nicely. So nothing on the blade, nothing on the steel, nothing on the coating for me. And of course, I love the color. The two negatives is the handle. The handle is kind of a plasticky grip. There's not much of a grip. I mean, yes, my hand fits it really well. It's got that Coke bottle feel to it, which is amazing. It's ergonomic, but it doesn't give you much traction. It doesn't give you much peace of mind of not going anywhere. Your mileage may vary, and that's fine. A little flare back here, and of course, like the guard blade part there. I mean, you're not going to slip and cut your hand open. I don't foresee that. And you can see the reverse grip as well. I don't foresee that slipping onto the blade, but it's lacking something. There's something that I would rather have. And so I've seen some people get like micarta handles for this. I am thinking about doing that in the future because I love micarta. The second thing is the sheath itself. So as long as I keep the nylon attachment on this, it does not make a lot of noise. Let's see if I can do this with one hand. Bear with me. There we go. All right, so with this, I'm going to try to do it so you can hear the knife against the sheath and not get distracted by the snap little jingle. So it sounds like there is some noise there. So this way, a little bit, but there's some this way. When you take this nylon attachment off of the sheath and you're just left with this clamshell pancake sheath, it makes a ton of noise. It's not falling out. I mean, there's enough of grip here to keep the knife within there, but I mean, good grief, you would think that this thing was not even made, this sheath was made for this knife with how loose and how much noise it makes when you take off these attachments that kind of pinch this together and give a little bit more traction. So that is, you know, I want to maybe upgrade the sheath. I have tried a heat gun on this. I've tried super glue. I've tried all kinds of different things, and you may have some other suggestions. Just let me know on the comment section if you have some other suggestions on what I could do, you know, to tighten the sheath and get it to work a little bit better. But man, I really don't like the sound, you know, within the knife within the sheath. I don't really like that, but anyway, so I'm planning on upgrading the handle, and you can kind of see that line where it's not perfectly. Let's see if I can get it closer to the camera. See that lip? Quite a bit of lip all the way like down through there, and then you can see that lip all the way around there. I mean, that's quite a bit. You may not be bothered by that, but you know, it's just something that kind of catches my eye, kind of catches my hand, and so forth. So those are my two things. So overall, I really like the knife, but let's bring in some comparisons to this, right? So I'm gonna put the sheath to the side just for a second. So here's the knife. Here is an LT Wright. Now this is, to be honest, guys, I forgot how much I spent on this knife. I know it was over 100. It might have been 150 or something like that. I can't remember. And I forgot even what the model is. The point that I want to make with this is that it's about the same size. The sheath, not the ferro rod there, but the sheath is high quality. It's leather, I know, but just the quality of craftsmanship in the leather The handle, I mean, it is smooth. There's no hot spots. There's nothing there. I mean, they did a really good job of polishing everything. The pins there is not sticking up. The blade, everything. I mean, it's really nice, a great package. Not the same kind of category of knife and what it's maybe built for, but just a comparison. Another knife is a Bark River. These are more expensive. This one you might be able to find for $200, $250 and up, depending on what materials and so forth. This is an A2 tool steel, so at least $200. Okay, and then I did upgrade the sheath. I think like a $20 sheath because I didn't like the leather and trying to carry that. So I did upgrade this. So like $220 into this knife. Why do I bring this knife, or why do I bring something like this in? I'm talking about quality control in there. I'm talking about the price point of this. For me to upgrade the handles and to upgrade the sheath, I'm now up to almost $200. Almost. But look at what I've got to do to it to get it to the knife that I want this to be. I'm up to almost $200 when this is a $200 knife. This is like a $150 knife. And so my point is that, am I really getting my money's worth out of it? Do I really want a 1095 or whatever carbon material they used? And then, you know, having to upgrade all these different things, having to do that on my own, you know, is that worth it? You know, the paint job is kind of coming off. For $200, I mean, I can get something like this. I could get something like this. You know, just some food for thought. I'm not saying don't buy the Becker. Just food for thought. Now, here's two more things I want to bring up. Is the Cold Steel Master Hunter. This is about $100. This is the VG1 Stand My 3. And it's about the same size, all that kind of stuff. I would choose this knife 9 times out of 10 over this knife. It's not slipping out of my hands. It's got a great grip, that rubber, nice size handle. The blade shape is okay, not as cool looking as the Harpoon, but I really like it. It cuts very well. I prefer 1095 over some of these laminated steels, but that's just me. Depends on, you know, how you want to use the knife and so forth. The sheath is just this amazing sheath. There's no rattle. There's no problems with it. I can take the nylon attachment off of it, kind of like what I can do there, and it still doesn't rattle. I mean, these sheaths are like some of the best sheaths I've ever had on a fixed blade knife. And this is about $100, and I don't have to fix anything. The only thing I may want to do is just take off the nylon strap. That's almost all I have to do to this, and this is ready to go, ready to use, and the way I want it. This is, I'm going to have to spend another, you know, 40, 50 bucks on this, 40, 50 bucks on a sheath, whatever, you know, style or brand you use. And I mean, I'm almost to $200 at that point just to get this to where I want it. This is almost half the value if I'm doing all those upgrades. And the last kind of comparison that I want to bring out is that if you want something just a little bit longer, just you don't mind it being a little bit bigger, it's got all the same benefits as this. The sheath, it's kind of modded out, but it's the same sheath process and so forth. It's just a little bit bigger if you don't mind the size difference. This is almost the same kind of steel, same family. And this I got for under $40. Let's just say under $50 with shipping and handling and tax and blah, blah, blah. So under $50, I could have a knife ready to go. It's a little bit bigger. Let's see. I've got a scale here. Let's see what the weight difference would be. All right. So this is just the knife only. So 6 ounces, 6.8 ounces. And then here's the Master Hunter. So 6.1 ounces, so a little bit lighter. And then here's this, 8 ounces. So about an ounce more with a little bit more blade. I mean, this is pretty close to this, just bigger. But it's half the price if you don't do any upgrades, and it's a fourth of the price for when I get this all modded up. This is half the same price. with no mods, and it's half the price once this is modded out to at least compete with this completely. So that's all I'm saying with it. And you know, your mileage may vary. You may really like this. You may want it to keep it to where it's at. You may find a good deal for it. You know, whatever it is, that is okay. I'm just giving you a little bit of my perception, a little bit of my experience on this. I'm hoping that this video was helpful. Hopefully that this video was kind of giving you a little bit of information that, you know, comparing. It's like, well, is this a knife that I want to, you know, utilize? Is this something that I want to invest in, add to my collection, whatever it may be? You know, whatever. I mean, that's your choice. It's your money. But I just kind of wanted to share my experience, and hopefully this was helpful.